Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. In our top story, many are shocked after a daylight robbery occurred earlier today, Tuesday around 3 p.m. at the Lockhart Shopping Mall's parking lot on St. Thomas. Police say two persons fired upon an American Ranger employee, the driver of the vehicle. According to the latest information, he was listed in critical condition. Earlier reports indicate another two people were injured. Police took swift action and were able to locate a suspect who they say ran into the Oswald Harris Court housing community and was hiding in the bushes near Building 8. Officers are now searching for another suspect. If you have any information, you are urged to call 911. News 2 will keep you updated as the investigation continues.
Suspect approached them, fired shots, got the two suspects, one in the lower extremities, one in the upper extremities, and took the money bag and ran towards Oswald Harris Court. And our 287 that was exiting the march observed the fleeing suspect and ran after the scene into Oswald Harris Court. All units came and assisted the Virginia Police Department and various agencies assisted by surrounding the entire area by Oswald Harris Court, and thanks to the eyes and ears of certain citizens, we were able to get an exact location of where the possible suspect may have been hiding in the bushy area behind Oswald Harris Court. We summoned our canine officers. Officers came, we did a search, and we captured the suspect lying down in the bushes in behind Oswald Harris Court. I want to thank all the officers that participated. My prayers from the Virginia Police Department goes out to the two security guards from Ranger America that was wounded in this ridiculous and senseless act.
Meanwhile, police on St. Croix are investigating a report of a non-fatal gunshot victim that was reported from the Governor Juan Hospital and Medical Center. The 32-year-old male victim was shot in his upper right arm by an unknown person. The victim told police that on December 1st, just before 11 p.m., he was at the Williams Delight bus shanty talking on his cell phone when he heard a gunshot and realized he was injured. The victim said he does not know who shot him and does not know why anyone would shoot him. The case will be followed up by the Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives. A 29-year-old man was charged with child abuse, domestic violence when he was observed by citizens putting a bottle of champagne to his 2-year-old daughter's mouth and trying to make her drink it. Police say when the toddler refused to drink the champagne, the father poured the alcohol on her. The incident occurred on November 25th around 10:15 a.m. in the Jiffy Mart parking lot in Christiansted, St. Croix. Gail Francisco Javier of Estate Richmond was arrested and charged with the abuse of a child. He was held without bail, according to the domestic violence laws, pending his advice of rights hearing. Jennifer P. Paris was arrested and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol after she was involved in an auto accident on the Queen Mary Highway. Officers responding to a vehicle accident about 1:45 a.m. on November 29th noticed that the driver, 62-year-old Jennifer Paris, had a strong smell of alcohol on her breath and body. Officers administered the field sobriety test, which she failed. Paris was placed under arrest, and she surrendered her driver's license in lieu of a $1,000 bail. The VIPD traffic enforcement officers on St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John caution drivers not to drink and drive. Please have a designated driver or call a friend to take you home. Hospitals in the territory have been going through some serious challenges, mostly financial, but lately Juan Hospital has been taking a lot of hits. Here's a wrap of last week's developments and a look at what's plaguing St. Croix's only hospital. News 2's April Knight has details.
Juan Luis Hospital is battling multiple fronts, and this past week, it just seemed to keep getting worse. In November, chief financial officers of both hospitals said they're hemorrhaging money in millions. In comparison, though, Schneider is doing better than Juan Luis, which is still reeling from the loss of its third-party insurance base with the 2012 closure of Havenza. In a November board meeting, then Juan Luis CFO Deepak Bansal mentioned some payroll problems that might cause them to ask the government for their December allotment in advance. In November 27, that problem surfaced with a delayed Thanksgiving paycheck for Juan Luis staff. 2 days later, Juan Luis announced the layoff of 15 employees. 3 days after that, another announcement. The CFO and another financial officer were fired, and that federal officials are on site to scrutinize the hospital's compliance with Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, or CMS, and Juan Luis might just lose its certification. It's a convoluted problem that put interim CEO Kendall Griffith in a bad light.
The difficult decision that Dr. Griffith made last week in terms of the layoffs clearly were ones that needed to be done for financial reasons, because we have to get the hospital back in balance as much as we possibly can.
But Governor John DeYoung says it is a difficult problem with several contributing factors.
Clearly, healthcare in the Virgin Islands is going through a lot of changes right now as a result of the Healthcare Reform Act, but also as a result of decreasing governmental appropriations, at the same time a reliance on them to generate their own monies at a time that we're going through an economic problem. So I think there's a very difficult path there.
Juan Luis Hospital's financial challenges has led to fears that the only hospital on St. Croix might be going on a downward slope from which it can't recover. But the governor believes that with a careful juggling act, it's still a viable option.
Both hospitals have some challenges, but both represent our only community hospitals in both districts, on both islands. So the viability of Juan Luis long-term, it is there. These are some short-term, very real short-term problems that we're going through. It's sort of like a puzzle. It all has to come together.
April Knight for News 2.
Neither Juan Luis CEO Kendall Griffith nor former CFO Deepak Bansal could be reached as of news time. News 2 will keep you updated on the status of Juan Luis Hospital. Meanwhile, Senator Kenneth Gittens also issued a statement saying the cost-saving measures at Juan Luis Hospital, including the recent layoffs, were necessary to keep the medical establishment afloat.
In the face of government budget cuts and an increasingly complex healthcare landscape, these actions are necessary for the future of the business operations and solvency at the Governor Juan F. Luis Hospital. We also need to start the discussions and follow up with implementation of expanding healthcare services in order to attract and retain Virgin Islanders who are seeking healthcare services outside the territory, and hereby keeping necessary revenue circulating within the Virgin Islands and eventually attracting others outside the Virgin Islands.
The Quality Healthcare in the Virgin Islands' third annual symposium took place today at Government House on St. Croix. Community partners and stakeholders joined together to share their accomplishments and plans for improving healthcare in our community. News 2's Shanika Robinson has that story.
Today, the third annual Quality Healthcare in the Virgin Islands Symposium, entitled Sharing Our Success to Sustain Improvement, was conducted at the Government House on St. Croix.
What this conference does is it brings together many of the positive things that are happening in healthcare that you as a consumer, you the person out there, this is all for you.
Community partners and stakeholders gathered to share accomplishments as well as plan actions for sustainability within our community.
There's so much good that's happening in healthcare that's never really shared with even the individuals who are providing the care. A lot of times people are in their little separate areas, and what we do at the Medical Institute is we bring people together to really understand their impact on healthcare.
The attendees eventually separated into several groups in order to dissect selective topics.
Today in our breakout session, we discussed hospital-acquired infections and to reduce and sustainability within the hospital setting.
We looked at different measures that we could use to improve healthcare in the Virgin Islands, and they range from prevention to infrastructure changes to electronic medical record changes as well too.
The main goal of the symposium was to achieve better care for patients, better health care for populations, and affordable care through lowering costs of improvement in the territory.
Having the legislature, the executive branch, the different healthcare providers, consumers, ARP, everybody coming together and talking about what can we do together, sharing, joining, hearing each other.
Shaniqua Robinson, News 2.
Have you heard about the Lifeline program and want to participate? Well, now is the time to sign up, but be sure to validate your mailing address with the U.S. Postal Service in order to be certified to receive Lifeline benefits by the Department of Human Services. Lifeline provides discounts on telephone service to low-income households. The mailing address validation process is a federal requirement, and all current recipients of Lifeline benefits must be validated before January 31st, 2014. An applicant's failure to validate his or her mailing address may result in the denial of a Lifeline application or result in termination of Lifeline benefits. President Obama wants Americans to give healthcare.gov another chance. A day after the improved website went live, the president says it's clear there is a high demand for affordable care. Tara Mergen is at the White House with the latest.
President Obama is asking Americans who need insurance to come back to newly overhauled healthcare.gov.
Do not let the initial problems with the website discourage you, because it's working better now and it's just going to keep on working better over time.
The Obama administration says more than 1 million people logged onto the site Monday, and the system did not crash. 13,000 were put in a new queuing system to help during high traffic. They are invited to come back when there is less traffic. 60% of them did. The White House is not yet saying how many users have enrolled, but says high traffic is proof of high demand.
Despite all the problems in the rollout, about 500,000 people across the country are poised to gain health care coverage through marketplaces and Medicaid beginning on January 1st.
The White House hopes highlighting progress will reassure consumers and nervous Democrats, but Republicans continue to insist problems go way beyond the website.
This bill is fundamentally flawed, causing people to lose the doctor of their choice, causing them to lose their health plan, and if that isn't enough, they're having to pay much higher prices at the same time.
The GOP wants the law repealed. President Obama says he won't let that happen, but is willing to work to improve it. Tara Mergener for CBS News, the White House.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Chrysler had its best November in 6 years last month. The 16% jump in sales was led by strong demand for the new Jeep Cherokee. Sales at GM climbed 14%, while Ford saw a 7% increase. A record number of people, meanwhile, shopped online yesterday. Early indications are that sales on Cyber Monday were up nearly 20% compared to last year. The most popular items were smartphones and tablets. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 94, Nasdaq 8, S&P 5. Coming up on News 2. Wyndham Vacation Ownership, which is developing St. Thomas's former Renaissance Grand Beach Resort property as a Margaritaville Vacation Club resort. Well, they presented $10,000 scholarships to 2 University of the Virgin Islands students and made a direct $5,000 grant to support UVI's hospitality and tourism management program. We'll be right back. Well, what started as an announcement for a $150,000 donation to the University of the Virgin Islands jumped up by another $100,000. Dignitaries and UVI staff, admin, and faculty applauded Dale Lefebvre, managing partner at Ocean VI LLC, when he made the impromptu declaration on Tuesday's ceremony that he is increasing the donation amount that will benefit high schoolers and UVI students, especially business and accounting majors.
This is my home. And I want to see it do better, and education has really been one of the biggest things in my life. So that was not that difficult. Talked to 3 students. The goal is to have 2 or 3 graduates from UVI actually working with OSAN on a going forward basis. That's a big part of certainly the accounting aspect of what it is we're looking to do. We're fair.
What this represents is not only a gift, but also a partnership, and that is how an institution moves forward. When you look at the MITs and the Harvards of the world, they didn't get there by themselves. It wasn't just their faculty members providing all of the innovation. It was linking with companies around them.
Well, here are a few Christmas events to mark on your calendar to get you in that festival mode. St. Croix Hotel and Tourism Association and St. Croix Chamber of Commerce is presenting the 8th annual Holiday Hope benefit for the Marine Toys for Tots Foundation. Boys and Girls Clubs of the Virgin Islands, CASA of the VI, and the Richard Patrick Henry Hospitality Scholarship on Thursday, December 5th at 6 p.m. at the DV Carina Bay. Now remember, WICO and the Havenside Merchants Association invite you to the 29th annual Christmas tree lighting festivities. That's from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's on Wednesday, December 11th. The formal lighting of the WICO Christmas tree will take place at 6, with a parade immediately following at 7 p.m. And don't forget another huge event, the Chamber of Commerce's Miracle on Main Street downtown celebration and the annual lighted boat parade will feature both sail and motor vessels vying for prizes along the downtown apron. That's next Friday, December 13th. Now, we are always in the mood to hear some sweet steel pan music, so don't forget the Superior Court's Rising Stars Youth Steel Orchestra presents its annual Christmas concert, A Caribbean Christmas Journey. That's 7 p.m. December 15th at the Reichel Center. And the Crucian Christmas Carnival events are about to kick off this week as well, starting on Friday, December 6th with the East Carnival Village. There will be performances by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Cooley Band, and the Pumpa and the Unit. Then on Saturday, December 7th, the Herbert Grigg Mini Carnival Village will take place. Mini Carnival, will take place from 4 to 8 p.m. Then it's back to the East Village with Volume International, Fusion Band, and Stylie Band. On Sunday, December 8th, X6 Band, Angel and Sincere will be performing, and the Princess and Duchess Pageant will take place on December 15th. And that's at the Synchro Educational Complex at 3 p.m. Be sure to stay tuned to NEWS2 for more Carnival updates. The Virgin Islands, on a sad note, community mourns the passing of Leslie Millen, Sr., a former director of the Division of Personnel and a longtime civil servant. He was the father of Lynn Millen Maduro, Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and brother of Senator Jeanette Millen Young. He was also the grandson of former Senator Lucinda Millen, son of former Lieutenant Governor Henry Millen. Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. extended condolences and described Millen as a mover and shaker in the Virgin Islands government in the administrations of Governors Evans, King, Louis, and Schneider. The governor also said Millen knew government inside and out. His contributions will long be remembered. Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen joins in expressing condolences to Millen's family and friends. Christensen said Millen will be remembered for his hard work and dedication to civil service in the Virgin Islands and his commitment to improving the quality of life, not just for government employees, but for all Virgin Islanders. Condolences to the family and friends of Leslie Millen Sr. The Virgin Islands Puerto Rico Friendship Committee is having an unveiling and award ceremony at the Florence Williams Public Library in Christiansted this Friday, December 6th, 2013, and that starts at 5 p.m. This is the culminating activity for the art contest sponsored by the committee. Students were requested to develop this year's theme while making it relevant to reading, books, and the library. The participating schools were Good Hope Country Day, St. Joseph Catholic High School, Manor, Arthur Richards Junior High, and the Synchro Educational Complex. The winning entry will permanently adorn the entrance of the Hispanic collection and will be unveiled during the ceremony, and the other entries will be part of a temporary exhibit at the library. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.